Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats, dogs, children of all ages, good morning and welcome to the Commix. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. I just had that thing up there still. Hey!
I was about to say, it's nice.
There's always one thing. Happy Saturday, everybody. Happy Loki Talking Day. Loki Talking Day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nighthawk. That handsome gentleman over there is Technique, and we got a whole slew of things to talk about. Obviously, mainstay going around. The first episode of Loki, which just came out this past Wednesday. But before we get into it, Frank, how's your Saturday, man? Good morning. How was your week? What's up, buddy?
My week was busy as heck, like filled with rehearsals and meetings. But I mean, it's all good stuff. Can't complain. Sorry, I'm late, everybody. It's just my alarm just did not go off, and I depend on that thing like a lot. But you know what? We're still doing the show, and we're still gonna give you what you want. And it's it's a good thing that everything happens for a reason. Like honestly, we got E3 today, and we have the most important show that I won't be late for. I'll probably be like 2 hours early for is GCX next week. So, and that will be taking place on Thursday.
Which
17th.
we got some fun stuff to talk to you about there, chat. So be on the lookout for that. They announced the schedule. Full schedule, not only for the streaming marathon, but for what they're doing actually on the space station as far as panels go. So we'll be talking about that a little bit, in addition to obviously some news, some rumors from the past week. Loki, of course. I'm sure there'll be a sprinkling of something, as Frank said, E3 officially starts today. We already had a little bit of Summer Game Fest. I know nothing necessarily comic related hit the past couple of days, but I know tomorrow we're gonna get some comic. We're gonna get some comic stuff. We already got a teaser. I don't know if you saw already. Marvel's Avengers gave us a nice high def screenshot of Black Panther. That's coming to Marvel's Avengers a little bit. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
Exactly where we're gonna see them. I can't say nothing, but yeah, it's gonna be really good. Honestly, Avengers not gonna be the big surprise. So I think there's some be bigger coming that nobody expected. So it's gonna be really nice. So make sure you guys tune into that. Oh my goodness, Loki. So I did not see it on Wednesday.
Okay.
I saw it.
In chat, Thursday. You let us know when Thursday you saw morning. It. Yeah, I woke up on Wednesday. I sent my children off to the in-laws, and before I hit go live, I'm like, I'm sitting down and watching this. And I watched it actually twice now. So it's
I wanted to make sure I didn't want to watch it as a reviewer. I wanted to watch it as like a fan and like really indulge in it and like be like, oh my gosh, okay, yes, this makes sense. The whole time I was watching it, I was like, yep. That's what I expected. Which is good. That's not a bad thing. That episode was freaking phenomenal. Marvel's TV series is better than movies, 100%. That episode 1 is honestly the production and what they did and how like everything went. Man, it was better than 90% of the Marvel movies. Opening scenes. Like honestly, like that whole hour felt like 15 minutes to me.
Yeah, I mean,
it was glorious, but they packed like 2 hours of a movie inside that one episode.
There was a lot to digest when it came to this episode, whether it was the small little tidbits and Easter eggs, which I've already seen it twice now. On the second viewing, I was definitely seeing more things compared to the first time because I already got through it all. Now I'm just kind of like, ooh, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Obviously, for the past couple of days too, I've been watching a whole slew of YouTube videos, amongst other things, from people's reactions, thoughts, and what everything is. And there's so many cool little kind of like full circles things happening with Loki, and funny enough, Rick and Morty, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I agree. It was a lot of everything that I think going into it, I knew what I was going to get into. But even with it, just the level of production, the obviously the acting, Owen Wilson was fantastic as Morbius. Seeing the judges, the Renslayer, the Minutemen of the TVA, like it was, as much as I knew what it was going into it, right, chat? Like I even enjoyed it more. Like even though I had high expectations, it didn't let me down.
Yeah. Yep. Oh boy. There's a lot. Um,
Do we want to just get right into it then, I guess?
we can. We can.
So
I guess.
so then I guess from now moving forward, chat, huge spoiler alert if you haven't had the opportunity obviously to watch it. We will be going knee deep into episode 1, which just came out. Episode 2 comes out this Wednesday. There's going to be a couple of one schedule change, which we'll talk about here in a little bit towards the end of the episode here, chat, as far as next week, which you got something really, really, really excited planned for you as far as GCX and the comic show goes. So make sure, obviously, to stay here throughout or at least be here for the end. But as far as the first episode goes, obviously, huge spoiler alert. We're going to get into it right now. I guess to kick it off, I think it started the episode right where we all believed it was going to start, which was essentially at the end of Endgame, but the end of Avengers, with obviously the team going back in time, the whole Tesseract getting knocked out of Tony Stark's hand after Hulk bashes through the door, and then really the show ensues. He picks up the Tesseract. He goes back into the time to the Gobi Desert, I believe it was. And you get the little bit of old school Loki right there where he pops up in front of the people and he goes, "I've been burdened with glorious purpose." But then the Minutemen come through. So if you don't know, the Minutemen are the TVAs. Essentially, they're soldiers. They're the ones that go through time, and if they see a variant, which Loki is, they go and course correct it there. But even just seeing Loki after just getting his butt whooped, right, by the Avengers, Hulk smashing him and everything, he pops back up right away and goes, I'm here to rule you," right?
Yep. Sorry, my wife is moving around and hitting ice. It's so loud. There's a lot in this episode. There's so much. I'm thinking like how I should do this. So current. I mean the current Loki that got zipped away. When he took the Tesseract again, he already knew that. He knew that the Avengers were messing with time. That was quite apparent. He told that to Owen Wilson's character pretty much, and the judge actually.
Yeah, like there's actually that great line. He says, I know the smell of 2 Tony Stark's colognes.
Yeah,
like which was awesome. It's a cool little
because they messing with time.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. But this Loki is not the Loki that we saw die. This is a different Loki. The Loki that we saw die is what's quote unquote supposed to happen by the time variance. Saying, I don't think we're done seeing Loki. I don't think Loki's going to die by the end of everything. Because there's about to be a big old plot twist. Now, the funny thing is that we're messing with a timeline here. And the big, I'm gonna jump around because it's important. The big bad that we're gonna be seeing. Give me 1 second.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you're a streamer in a house with family. There's no downtime. There's no nothing, but it's fine. Whether it's technical issues, whether it's audio, something always happens, but we're here. We do it.
What, is there an audio issue?
No. I was just saying, no.
Okay.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So we do a lot of time jumping. The most important piece of this whole story that got downplayed, a lot of people just ignored it, was the fact that Owen Wilson was talking to Kid Loki in the church, and we have Mephisto in the background. Because when he was like talking to the devil, and he was talking about, well, they call him the devil, and they were talking about the piece of candy. This is a whole setup. So now we know where we're going. But we're going in a couple of directions. So at first, I was wanting Marvel to do a big bad, right? Like we have all these branches that lead up to this big trunk of big bad. But now we have Kang, we have Mephisto, and we're gonna get someone else later on down the road. So now it's like starting to all come together. Owen Wilson character is going through time to break off these branches to make sure Loki stays on a certain path. But he's jumping to different time loops because apparently Loki done screwed up the time branch. He's not the only one because the Avengers did it too. But he was trying to figure out why it's okay for the Avengers to screw up time and not okay for him. But the variants allow it. So that's the big question mark. But they were trying to set things in right, but they did screw up time. And now the funny thing about this what makes this a little strange to me is that Gamora from the past is still in the present. So do they fix her? Like, you know, so it's like,
yeah,
now that we have the time variance, which is like the almighty, all powerful, so to speak, quote unquote, the Watchers and everything like that, what happens to everybody else that got thrown out of the time loop?
Yeah, I think one of the cool things that I think a lot of people either got or didn't get was when Loki goes, "Why have I never heard of the TVA before?" Like Mobius, Owen Wilson's character, was not only telling Loki, but he was also telling us that that you never heard of us because you never needed to. Like, this is a point now where we need to. The Avengers screwed up. And Loki is in a place where he's not supposed to. So I like how they kind of played that off a little bit with that one saying. It was very, dare I say, meta, of them to say that, because not only were they speaking to the audience, but they were also speaking to Loki in the series as well. And as far as what you were saying, as far as, you know, why did they allow the Avengers and not the Avengers, the Avengers to do it? Loki can't. You know, Mrs. Minutes kind of explained it in that whole cartoon cinematic, kind of like quarter of the way through the episode. But also Renslayer as well. The judge said as well, is because, you know, the not the Watchers,
they're doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah,
you're doing what you're supposed to do. So what they're saying is, I guess the Avengers were supposed to go back and do this. Captain America was supposed to stay back with Peggy Carter. And I guess Gamora is supposed to, because the one thing that's actually really nice about it is, and I wrote it down here, everything that we've seen, I guess we can kind of say that it's meant to be, because with the Time Variance Authority, where is it? The Infinity Stones. I wrote it down. I want to make sure I said it right. That's right. The MCU is canonizing time travel and timelines by creating the one timeline that encompasses the entire universe. So this one timeline that we are on, that this path that we're on, that they were talking about, they used it to canonize time travel and everything that has happened with the time travel before. So with Gamora and with Steve Rogers and with the Avengers going back. So time travel is allowed to happen as long as it stays within this predetermined set timeline by the lizard men.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm so confused because Gamora died to the hands of the present day Thanos that didn't get stopped by the Watchers,
soul, yeah.
Which was, I guess, supposed to happen. But then they went back to stop Thanos. Thanos was dead, reversed everything. That's supposed to happen. So now Gamora gets to run around. So why doesn't Loki? Like, you know, and why doesn't Black Widow? And the real big question is, why does the Soul Stone, if the stones have no power by the time variance, why does the Soul Stone dictate who can and cannot come back? Who's dead, period, as so said. So there's a lot of rules that can be broken and twisted, apparently. But when you get into the power of Cosmos and stuff like that, there is no explanation. It's just those people are so powerful they can do what they want, so to speak. And even speaking on the Cosmos in the MCU, the Cosmos are supposed to be almighty and powerful. But in Guardians of the Galaxy, they killed the Cosmos, the cosmic being. Being
what's his face?
Being Star-Lord's father.
Star-Lord's father, yeah.
Even more weird to me. And this guy can create and destroy planets. So I don't know. You know, these are little spots that I hope they explain. And Marvel's been doing really good at picking up these little tidbits and explaining them. And I believe we'll get there eventually. But yeah, that part got me a little weird. But like I said, Mephisto is there. He's the devil in the pictures, and we were looking at Kid Loki, quote unquote Kid Loki. Owen Wilson. So the reason why a lot of questions I had was like in the beginning was like why Owen Wilson's character. Well, Owen Wilson's character has been researching and studying Loki the whole time because you'll find out by the end of the episode that the big bag of the episode is Loki. But I don't believe that's regular Loki.
Oh no, it's not.
I believe it's Lady Loki. Finally, in his form because Mischief she can like change forms and stuff like that. Trying to rewrite time and make herself, be placed in power or whatever. So it's a lot, and I know a lot of you probably would never pick that up because you're not, you're watching the episodes when you're just brand new to Loki, but there's a lot leading up to that, and I just kind of put a period at the end of a sentence when I saw the ending. I was like, yep, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, it's I like the end of the episode too. I know we're jumping around here a bit, but when they had the artifact from the year 3000 in like 1528 Oklahoma. I forget the exact date and time, but it was back in the day in the US in Oklahoma, but there was an artifact on the ground that was from the year 3000. And the main villain of what we believe this series is going to be, because of what Mobius says, is Loki, and she set a trap for the Minutemen to attack them. I mean, that was a great line at the end where he goes, "Yeah, we want you to come. We have a variant running around causing a ruckus. We want you to help us." He goes, "How can I help you?" or something of that nature. And he goes, "Well, we're hunting you. We're hunting Loki." And it's awesome because it's not Tom Hiddleston. It's not. This is a complete different universe.
And it could have been.
It could have been, but we're leading to believe that just like Kid Loki, and other things, that there's going to be that this Loki at the end is going to look and see and feel and do everything nothing like this Loki, because it's from a different timeline. Which is exciting.
Essentially from a different multiverse.
Yes, exactly.
Because that's the whole lead up. Like WandaVision was the catalyst. Everything is leading up to that. Mephisto multiverse. That's all that. You have Doctor Strange stuff. He keeps popping up left and right. Avengers time traveling, quantum verse, multiverse, that keeps popping up. And then now the future Loki, being that Lady Loki, it's all multiverses. And now it's really strange how they want to do one time. They said all multiverse, all universes, all whatever in one timeline is very interesting to me.
Yep.
That they even want to do that. I was just like, huh.
They're leading up to something big there. Because if the TVA
if they have
place
to get involved,
where we are, that's actually at the end of time. So where where Loki is right now with his jumpsuit, where he's been taken, the TVA is actually in the MCU. It's created at the end of time before the scorching of the universe, and everything that is happening right now is to try to prevent that from happening, and B, this multi-universal war, which, I mean, let's be honest, that's the secret wars that I think they've been hinting out for a while. So I think the next big Avengers crossover or leading up to something like that, this is going to be the main catalyst with obviously Doctor Strange into the multiverses. It's going to be it's going to be the secret war, because it seems like it's all leading up to it. And I know we're going all over the place because there's a lot of things to talk about here.
Yeah, this is a breakdown essentially at the end of the day. So
because the TVA is freaking insane with so much stuff.
I'm gonna throw another wrench. It could not be Lady Loki at the end of the episode. It could be Loki, because there is a King Loki form that makes our current Loki nothing, like ash. The King Loki, or Agent Loki, or Agent Asgard Loki in the comic books is badass, man. Oof. You talking about villainous, badass, like thinker before you
Yeah.
thought type thing? He's a time traveler, essentially, which is the big what if he time travels, badass. He knows his stuff. He knows about time. He knows about the variants in the comic. So this could be King Loki at the end of the episode, honestly, and Lady Loki could come later as another, break off variant.
I mean, the trench coat does look very female-esque with the way the silhouette is. But you brought up a good point that I was reading a couple of weeks ago. If you look up the cast of Loki, there is a actor that is not has a role yet, Richard E. Grant. Look him up, and I feel like that could be that King Loki character that you're talking about, because we're gonna see not just one version of Loki. Like, we're not just gonna see this one female version at the end. I mean, it's 6 episodes. They're all about an hour long. We'll probably get to 6 hours fully on this first season of the series. Excuse me. So we're gonna see more than just him. There's gonna be a few surprises along the way, and I think Richard E. Grant's character could be that King Loki you're talking about. Like when we were showing those 5 images last week, the Loki that's kind of a little hunched over, he looks a little human, he has the big horns going backwards from the comic book. I feel like that definitely could be
move the actor around. I think it's still going to be Tom.
See, but I like the idea of having different actors and different looks for Loki. Like, we'll see Tom as different versions of himself, but he's not playing a female Loki, obviously.
No, obviously not. I mean, that's a whole gender. And like kid Loki is a kid.
Yeah, it's a kid.
I mean, but I don't think that they're gonna put another actor as Loki unless it's a gender bend.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? Check the bedroom. I don't know where it is. Oh, here you go. Sorry, wife needs the card. But yeah, so I don't think we're gonna get an actual different person. We might get somebody a different character introduced. That's a major role later on that's gonna play into other shows. But I don't think they're gonna mess with if it's a male Loki and he's if it's a male Loki and he's in this show, I believe it's going to be Tom 100% all the time. Because I mean, I think fans would just lose their crap if they even unless it's like a whole gender bend or anything. But very interesting episode. Owen Wilson's character Mobius is really good. Owen Wilson is really, really good. He's really good at playing that type of character, and that's something that we always notice that Owen Wilson plays. Kind of like the guy that kind of extinguishes stuff or downplays things, or the calm guy. That's his role. He was in his element. If Owen Wilson would have agreed, apparently there's rumors that Owen Wilson was wanted for Marvel a long time ago, and he just kept denying the roles for reasons. I don't know. Maybe it's because he didn't want to work with a certain actor, or maybe it's because I didn't go into the gist of it. I didn't want to bring up too many gossips, but. Apparently, after reading this storyline, reading this script, he was all for it. And that says a lot, because if an actor that was adamant about not being in something reads a script and was like, okay, I want to be a part of this, that it must have been one hell of a script. And so far, it looks great.
I mean, one episode in, it's got me. I mean, it's very rare that, obviously it's my job to watch things now more than once, but to really want to go back and watch it again and see exactly what's happening in the background, that was never even really like my thing. But with this, I've found myself watching now the show twice and really trying to dive in with different YouTube videos and TikToks with people kind of going into theories and what's happening. Because, one of the cool things that we actually haven't touched upon is when you keep on talking about the future, right? And what's happening next. So the showrunner for Loki, his name is Michael Waldron. He is actually the showrunner and writer for Rick and Morty season 3, but more importantly, he wrote Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and we know this is going to distinctly tie in to that. And I mean, they've already talked about the multiverse. Like the first 10 minutes of the episode, they talked
Mhm.
about the multiverse.
It was introduced in Wanda. So Wanda,
Yeah.
well, it was
Well,
introduced
well,
before that. It was
Wanda,
introduced in Infinity
Wanda's character
in
just
War.
got even bigger. Wanda's
Yeah.
character just got even bigger with the way they explained the events. So Wanda is a Nexus being. She has the power by herself to manipulate and do something that can alter the change and alter the course of the timeline. And that's why the Watchers watch over her and those Nexus beings so drastically. Loki isn't a Nexus being. With the Tesseract, he can be because he could change the time. So adding her to Doctor Strange into this whole mix, because they called it a Nexus event. When they were doing that whole big thing, they were calling it a Nexus event where you create the, hey, I'm late for work, or hey, I ate something wrong. Like that actually,
path, yeah.
that's massive. So how did they rechange everything with WandaVision? Because WandaVision had to be a Nexus event. Like you can go back and now start saying those things because she has the power as with the chaos magic, to do things that no one else could do. It's there is a lot of small little tidbits to the episode that you could tie into other things that make it just that much bigger.
I'll shake the tree a little bit more.
Ooh, okay.
They could have left Kid Loki out and they could have just talked about Mephisto, right? What if they're setting up for Young Avengers as well?
I mean, they have everything there for Young Avengers.
Spider-Man, you have Katie Bishop, you have Kid Loki. All you need is like a younger version of Hulk or a Kid Hulk of some sort, and one more character.
We're probably gonna get the two kids again, Wanda's kids. I forget their names off the top of my head.
Wiccan and Speed.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Wiccan has already been. He just haven't shown, but he's already in the MCU. Speed is in the MCU as well. So now, I mean, Young Avengers is set up, dude. 100%. You know, we're gonna get Hawkeye soon. So it's like, I don't like Marvel just doesn't introduce kids as we know.
Oh yeah.
And just let them be. They introduce them for a reason. So I honestly believe that this Loki has to accept the fact that he's gonna die by the end of the show, but be reborn, or not be reborn, but that kid Loki in the beginning is going to be essential, and that's how we're going to get Loki back into the mix of things. But I don't know if Tom is going to be, the one that's playing him, but that could be a theory. It could not be. They could have just had it be where they introduced Mephisto and Owen Wilson's character. It could just leave it at that as well, because Marvel's really good at introducing something and you don't hear about it until like 6 years later. So, we don't know, but I think that's.
I mean, it's an interesting thing. I with the multiverse now, and as you brought it up at the end of the episode, him going through when he was left alone in Mobius's office, and he was going through his time loop, seeing how he reacted to his father embracing him finally as his son before he passes, and then obviously watching the scene at the end of or at the beginning of Infinity War where he you're not coming back this time, snap, essentially. When he sees what's supposed to happen to him, but he also has that little snicker like, oh, now I know. We already know we have a season 2 coming around the pipe for Loki. This is not just a one shot and that's it. Like, I think that now that he knows his true fate, there's gonna be craziness that ensues, and his laugh, and she goes, "What are you laughing at?" And I think he says again, "Glorious purpose." I mean, come on, that's wonderful. That's awesome.
The show, we talk about the Avengers, we talk about everybody so much, but Loki is the centerpiece for all of this.
Oh yeah,
Loki and Wanda, the two people that got pushed aside for so many years, are the two biggest pieces of the puzzle. And with the point, if you have a trifecta right now, right? We have Loki, Wanda, and Doctor Strange, and all three of those have been pushed to the side for so long to build up to where they're coming from. But Loki put everything in motion for the whole 2000 Avengers arc, and now he's putting in motion for the future of MCU. Yeah, Loki's way too important to give him one season. Same thing as Captain America. Same thing as Wanda. Like these will be major players in the zone. So I'm just very interested in see where they're going, leading up to Fantastic Four, which is probably going to end up being the ones that fix everything. This problem that we're having right now with the multiverse isn't going to get fixed in 1 or 2 episodes of Loki. No.
Oh no, no. This whole
this
multiverse disaster is going to be all. I think Phase 4. I think we have already solidified now with WandaVision and now Loki. It's going to revolve around the multiverse and some type of this massive happening
threat.
Yeah.
So we're looking at probably 10 more years of, if we're lucky enough to have that, 10 more years of MCU guaranteed, you know?
Oh yeah.
But it's just that everybody's like, who's going to be the big players? If they're going to be another Avengers type thing. I think Fantastic Four is going to be it. And I believe that we're going to see some more Avengers in some form, whether it's Young Avengers, New Avengers, Champions, Defenders may come back. You know, we might have to have all these teams go in different versions of the multiverse to fix certain things in the timelines that lead up to the end arc. There's a whole bunch of what ifs. We just don't know yet. It's just too early in the game. But all we do know is that Marvel's production is getting better. Their story writing is getting really good. Actors and actresses are breaking down doors to get into these movies. Fans are just eating it up. Like they're ever since. I don't even think Infinity War was like the big wow, right? It was like a period.
Yeah.
Like we're here with Marvel. We know what we're doing. This stuff is beyond any expectation. Like Loki's beyond any expectation I ever had, and my expectations were high for Loki. But the way they did it, it was not explosive. It was not action packed. It was just good ass writing and very good acting. I mean, I even like the security guard lady, if you want to call her.
Oh, she's awesome. She is awesome. Hunter, I think it's B-15 is her name.
Yeah, I loved her.
She's an awesome character.
Yeah, and we're not gonna see the end of her. I mean, she's a big role in this as well.
I heard somebody make this reference, and I feel like you're gonna get it. Younger people may not. She reminds me of remember the show Night Court?
Mm-hmm.
She reminds me of the girl Roz from Night Court.
Oh,
how she's constantly the like it's a perfect example. I forgot where I heard it from, but it's so true. It's so true.
Even the way she holds herself,
the baton, the stance, she's up there, like she knows she means business, and she's gonna smack you into into line. Yeah,
Chain Wolf. It's very interesting that you brought that up. It says is the best plot episode of any Marvel series. I agree, because this one is very well thought out.
Yeah,
a lot of the other Marvel series weren't really thought out well. They kind of like dug inside of comic books and pulled out what they wanted to and put the story together and wrote it, say, yeah, this is gonna be pretty good, whatever. Also, the world wasn't established yet, right, for a lot of the Marvel movies, and they had to create their own essential universe, right? The MCU. So a lot of that stuff was kind of sloppily done, even if it was really great production and entertaining. It's kind of sloppy, left a lot of holes. But the one thing that I love that Marvel's doing, they're going back and filling in those holes.
Yeah.
It's like we were like on a road, and the road was drivable, but there were potholes in that road. And people, just like in real life, they ignore it and they run over it and they're like, we can't understand about that, but who cares? That's nothing important. But now Marvel's like paving that road again and making it smooth. And now everybody's on board because they did so much buildup to all this stuff in the past. It's so good that people don't give a crap about Infinity War anymore. And that was a great goddamn movie, right?
Yeah.
People are just like not caring about it anymore because it did its job. We get to revisit it here and there through these episodes to explain things. But honestly, like I said before, I think I said it last week, is that if they did not do this Loki episode, fans of Marvel and fans of MCU would have been fine with just knowing that Loki took the Tesseract and that was just like a Easter egg cameo, blah ha ha type thing that popped up and popped out happened. But the fact that they're going back and writing a whole show on it,
and they're utilizing it to set up the future too. Like they're going back with one of their characters that the fans have loved. And if you think about it, he never really had a lot of screen time because he never had a lot of he was only in a couple of Thor movies, right? And he was in Avengers.
Player, yeah.
To be such a major player and be beloved by so many, to come back and create this. I mean, if you watch WandaVision's first episode, if you watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, aka Captain America and Winter Soldier, and now Loki, this just has a different feel to it. It feels bigger than what it already is, and it takes a step back to really make everything go forward. And like, full pun intended, I mean, we are going back in the show, right? But it's allowing everything to go forward. You're literally going from 2012 to when he goes into the TVA. You are at the end of the timeline for the MCU, even though it's a whole different pocket dimension, yada, yada, yada. I mean, that is literally at the end of the universe or the end of the timeline for all intents and purposes. It's incredible. And now we already dealt with a time heist. Now we're going to be dealing with time travel again in this series. We're going to be dealing with multiverses in this series. From the trailers, we've already seen some crazy, wild stuff. I mean, we already know that we're going to get top tier acting, and we know that it's leading up to the next movie, or the next forward movie, which will be Doctor Strange. Because, well, Shang-Chi is forward, but it doesn't deal with that stuff.
It's going to be a lot. There'll be so many prime players, because once you get into the multiverse of madness, Secret Wars, and all that good stuff, they're going to need they're going to need the Avengers help, essentially, and there's no more Avengers. So I mean, everybody's going to have a big role in it. I mean, you got to look at Spider-Man. Spider-Man and time travel is huge. I mean, Spider-Man travels multiverses, bro. Like, that's huge. Which is kind of interesting to me that they don't introduce Gwen Stacy. Like, it's really interesting because she does really bad things with the timeline. She jumps multiverses like it's a side hobby for her, and she screws them up all the time.
Yeah, because it's weird that how the way they talk about the multiverse, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the episode, like, there's this huge multiversal war that almost ended time, but the timekeepers, the lizard men, prevented that from happening. So where we are in the current MCU, right, where we ended with Endgame, where we ended with Captain America Winter Soldier, where are we on that arc? Like, has there already been a multiverse created? Like, are there other time streams? Because with now the TVA talking about more questions, if they're here to prevent all the other timelines, doesn't that mean they altered the future then? So there shouldn't need to be a TVA. Like, there's actually like a lot of weird things happening the way they just explained it to where it is now, which I'm sure they're all going to talk about, and it's going to lead into bigger stuff.
They talk about resetting all the time.
Yeah, those are those little bomb things that they have.
It's not that they're creating a new multiverse. They're resetting the current one so that it flows.
So that it flows straight. They
wanted to, which is funny enough. That's the big funny, because they're not the most powerful people in the universe. I mean, there's other people like
Celestials, Eternals
that may not exist yet in MCU, but Molecule Man being like one of the ones that can literally create lives and destroy and essentially create new universes. So he's there. I mean, you have Franklin from Fantastic Four. That's why I'm like really interested in what version of Fantastic Four we're getting.
I mean, is it in the comic books? Speaking of Rick and Morty, because there's the Council of Mortys. Isn't there the Council of Reed Richards in the comic books? Isn't there like a Council of Reed Richards because they deal with the timeline as well?
The only time I know about the timeline being really relevant is due to his son. His son has the power to do that stuff. Franklin Richard. Yeah, I don't know. It gets really messy because the comic books visit multiverses all the time, and in one universe, Franklin Richard might have this power. In another universe, Franklin Richard may not have any powers.
Yeah, he just
so it's the comic books has to make multiverses because that's how, I mean, you keep a character alive. long enough to sell and make money, you have to introduce other things. Hence why the Spider-Verse is so big and it's its own independent thing. And who's Madam Web is the Guardian of Time. You have all these different Guardians of Times too. So it's just like who?
Yeah.
So you have Doctor Strange as a Guardian of Time. You have Madam Web as a Guardian of Time. Like, what is going on here? Madam Web is supposed to get her own MCU series, so we're going to visit that, and Spider-Verse is going to clash. So I just don't know when and how, if that's going to be a thing. That was something that was shown on a piece of paper with all the episodes, and it was lining up pretty good with what Marvel released. But Madam Web is super important to the multiverse, and who does she answer to? And like it's these are very interesting things. Doctor Doom can travel. Like everybody gets like a time travel at some point, so it's interesting.
It just depends which version they're going to use and how does it incorporate into the overall arc of this phase and beyond, right? So that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, do we think Loki's series will end before the beginning of Endgame where he dies, or do you think he would change the time? Oh, he's 100% changed the timeline. I don't think Loki. That's why I feel like we're getting a season 2.
We are.
Yeah, I mean you know what I mean. That's why I feel this is the reason why I feel like we're getting a season 2. Like, is that I believe Loki's gonna he's gonna snake his way in and find a way, or he may be rewarded
for helping
to be brought back in existence, because we still got to visit. I mean, the most hilarious Loki is President Loki. I can't wait to see that. But anyway, there's a reason why Owen Wilson went through and says, what do you want to do? What do you want? What's your motivation?
His pushing,
he's like literally interviewing him for a reason. This is not the one thing I notice about Marvel and Kevin Feige and all those guys that are writing and directing, the Russo brothers. They all have a certain style of doing things of their own, but it seems like there's a big person above them all. They come together in this Hall of Justice meeting, haha, funny enough, to say everything that we put in here has to be answered at some point, and it has to be for a reason. We don't just put random stuff in here as Easter eggs to make people say, "Oh, there's an Easter egg." Like, everything that I'm actually, once we're done with this and we're waiting for movies to drop, and we have I'm actually probably going to go back and watch all the movies again and pick out little tidbits that are there, because they're there, and there's some that I know I missed. But they all have been leading up to something else. Just the little part about Wanda and Pedro, that whole I call it a factory, but it's like that whole underground experimental scene. That was a lot of information to be given us in 30 seconds of a sneak peek.
Oh, yep.
And there were other people in there that we probably just ignored and went straight for them. And those people are probably going to show up. So it's like, those are the important things that we got to look for in these episodes and stuff. That's why it's important to rewatch. Because we got introduced to the X-Men very weirdly, but we got introduced to X-Men. And you talk about time travel?
X-Men, yeah. I mean, they're huge with travel, which, funny enough, before we hopped on, I was rewatching it again. The scene when he goes into court, right? Mm-hmm. When he goes to talk to Renslayer, there's a picture of him. You have the background of the building, and he's walking through. The first image on the right, I want everyone to look at it, because it very, very distinctly reminds me of Peter Dinklage's character from Days of Future Past, I think it was.
Yeah, Days of Future Past.
But also there looks like a rogue too, because it's a girl, female, dark hair, and it just is a white strip right here. It's like, why are they utilizing, what's the PC term for small, I don't know what the PC term is for it. Small people. No. Like Peter Dinklage, he's small. He's little people, midget. I don't know what the PC term is, and I apologize.
Little person.
But it's a little person on the wall next to all these other normal sized people, and one of them looks like Rogue, and one of them looks like the Beast character. It's like, did they just I didn't catch that the first time around watching it. It took me the second or even the third time really to go and see it. I'm like, wait a second, why? They're putting now X-Men universe characters potentially in
Yeah,
this Loki series.
we
That's
thought it was going to be more
incredible.
introduced in Wanda.
Yeah. I mean, we said this
So, I
last
mean,
week. You said
technically
this
it
2 weeks
was.
ago. Like, this is the biggest series to date as far as the future of the
Oh yeah,
MCU.
absolutely. This is we're finally getting the thread. We had all this beautiful fabric laid out, and we're finally getting the thread. And there's a reason why I don't forgot the kid's name that plays Pedro, quote unquote, in Wanda. That's the
Ralph
actual
Boner.
Quicksilver. Yeah, Ralph, the Quicksilver in X-Men, which I hate. I'm sorry to say, I don't think he's a
Yeah, you don't like
he
the
was,
actor itself. Yeah.
I don't think he was casted well. Great actor, but I don't think he was casted well. Anyway, there's a reason why they chose him to be in there and not the actual Pedro, and it could be because of Kang and all that stuff. Not Kang, but could be because of Craven and all that stuff. Maybe, I don't know. But they still could have brought him back. It's not. You can put makeup and beard on somebody and be a totally different person, but they chose him, and that was just kind of a caveat that's like, hey, X-Men exist in this universe, and we will bring in them, and it's the same X-Men, unfortunately, that we saw when Fox had it. Now that they own Fox, so I really hope the X-Men gets recast. I really hope they get the Russo brothers. I think Russo brothers would destroy X-Men. I really hope that they get them.
Well, the Russo brothers have said two things. They love Wolverine, so they've hinted at wanting to work with Marvel on a Wolverine film. But they've also been hinting out Secret Wars for quite a while too. So So if there is another big end up Avengers-esque movie at the end of this timeline, I would say that it's once again back to Secret Wars, and it's probably the Russo brothers doing it again. I mean, if it worked once, might as well do it again, right? With the directors, I mean, they are really good directors. They're really good directors.
They're fantastic.
Yeah,
they're fantastic, and people love working.
Yeah, people love working with them.
That's the biggest thing. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot to digest here. I want X-Men to do well. I love X-Men. I grew up with them. I just don't like the fact that we are not getting what they deserve as characters.
Yeah, like how are we gonna bring them in still? I mean, I know Nightshade, mutants. Like, how do you introduce mutants into this world
introduce
now?
Storm first, because the new Wakanda Forever, Storm is essentially number one from Africa. She was a goddess, okay, and she brought about rain and everything. She got her she used her powers as if she was a shaman in Africa. That needs to be introduced, 100%.
Okay.
And if they introduce it in a new Wakanda film, I'm here for it. And she don't have to be a main role character, but they could even hint at her. There's a shaman. They don't call it a shaman, but you know what I'm saying. That brings rain about the land. Maybe there's like some drought that happens, or something like that, big bad that happens.
Kind of like that little hint they did for Atlantis, but just on a bigger, not a bigger scale, but more than just one line. That there's something down under the sea.
So that's what they need to start introducing that way. Wolverine can be introduced as shit. He could just be in a bar, and he leading up as we lead up to the big bads. He could just be introduced in there. I wouldn't mind if some dude just pops out with like a coat on and a hat, and he just rips that off, and you see like these claws come out his hands, and he starts fighting with whoever. Dude, like there's so many ways they can just do it, and they don't even have to be coy about it. They could just drop them in there.
Yeah.
In different areas. I feel like we're gonna find some mutants in Doctor Strange.
I mean, the multiverse is leading up to that. I really, that's what I think, because
we still have Magneto. One of he has, dude. They can't just let Magneto just sit in space here, like not do anything. Like they have to put Magneto in this.
Knowing
Xavier is like whatever, but Phoenix is such a big player in all of this.
She's another Nexus being.
Yeah, so it's like, all right.
I mean, knowing that the Fantastic Four is coming, Blade is coming too, so you have the whole vampire section as well. Morbius, even though it's Sony, it's still gonna tie in.
We don't know, actually. They could drop that movie like a bad habit.
Yeah, true. I mean, Sony could just be like, at this point, I'm just done with it. It's
there's really been zero news on it.
How they're going to bring in metahumans, how they're going to bring in mutants, is still very. I'm very interested.
I already brought in a mutant because, Wanda is a mutant, so.
Well,
I mean,
not the way
technically, it's
the
there.
way they brought her in. I mean, she's another worldly power or being when they talked about her from the book. When they talked about her from the book, like she's not a, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, here too. Like when Agnes opened up the book and said, what was it, the Book of the Damned or whatever it
No, no,
was.
no, no. The power of Scarlet was prophesied. Power of Scarlet Witch was prophesied. She didn't get that power until she merged with the Mind Stone, essentially. But she had powers before that. She was a
It's just
she
it
just
unlocked it
yeah,
essentially.
it unlocked more potential in her, and that's why Agnes wanted the power of Scarlet Witch. She
Mm.
could have been Scarlet Witch. So this is like a mantle that's been passed down, and prophesized in a myth in the Wiccan, universe or whatever I want to say, or the Wiccan storyline. But yeah, they experimented with multiple mutants, and as they said in that story, that a lot of people just didn't take to it, or they died, or something happened. They were all super surprised when nothing happened to her. They couldn't see what was happening, but she could. But yeah, she was a mutant before
Mm-hmm.
that,
Okay.
and so was her brother. So, um, yeah, yep. They're mutants. So they introduced them, like I said, essentially there, and there's more. There's more, and I'm pretty sure if we go back and look at Marvel's so good at just putting a random person doing something extraordinary in the background, you just miss it, and then they don't say anything until you find a movie like Loki, and they be like, let's rewind that, and there's that person, so you're just like,
Well,
oh
did
god,
you
okay,
see the
cool.
big thing that everyone was talking about coming out of this episode, speaking from behind, coming through a portal? Everyone was thinking they saw Peggy Carter come through a portal in Loki. There's a female that has her hair, her body, and her build. About halfway through the episode, she comes out from a portal with a Minuteman and just walks behind the scene. So everyone's like, "Wait, is that Peggy Carter? Why is Peggy Carter being taken?" Because you did see a scroll at the beginning. So are they bringing Peggy Carter in for anything?
At what point?
About halfway through the episode. I mean, I could probably find the image and bring it up here on the on a preview screen.
Let me see.
Peggy Carter Loki scene. Yeah, Loki on Easter egg explains, was that Peggy Carter? Trying to get like a clearer image. I mean, you could, if you just Google it, there's a couple of things, but I'm just looking for the actual video. Oh, it's when he gets the time rewind device from Owen Wilson from Mobius, where he picks his pocket essentially to start the breakout heist for him. The first time he steps back on the right hand side of the screen is where you see it.
They have a screen cap of it.
I'm trying to bring it up here. I don't want to show anything I can't show or any other fun jazz. But that was.
I'll go back. I just always go back and rewatch it. Yeah, that's something I did not.
Yeah, now people are saying it is her. People are saying it isn't her. It's just one of those things that it's like, why would they put that in? Someone that looks and resembles so much like this other individual.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Carter is pretty big part of the MCU. I mean, Marvel in general. So I mean, maybe.
Here, I got it. Just give me 1 second. Sorry.
Are you good? So I'll just talk to you guys. So maybe it could be her. I mean, at the end of the day, it could be her from a different timeline. It could be a lot of stuff. It could be her from the future when they do movies in the future. We don't know. Let's see. Reveals are lucky. Let's see.
Sorry.
We're fine. I'm just trying to find this, but
Yep.
It doesn't matter. I mean, maybe it could be. I mean, I'll have to go back and look again and see.
Here, so preview window, video. Hey, why are you not showing?
Make sure the window is full screen if you did a window capture.
Yep. Is it independent?
Yeah. the Disney Marvel's mutants of some sort do need to be. They 100% need to be introduced.
Yeah. So as soon as he comes back out, like I was saying, over this right hand side, everyone's saying that that's Peggy Carter.
No, that's not Peggy Carter.
When you look at it from there, I mean, it's hard to see, but it has the air. It
Oh,
has the old school. It has the old school look to it. I mean, no one has officially said yes or no, but people have been pointing out to it because of the scroll and them talking about the multiverse and back in time, forward in time, the whole 9 yards. There's been a lot of question marks as to if this is her or if this isn't her.
I mean, that woman's walking around. Okay, so first of all, that woman's walking around like she's part of the time variance because she doesn't have
She has
any
a collar
cuffs on, no collar around her neck. Yeah, nah, I don't think that's Peggy Carter, dude.
I mean, she looks like she's being brought in as a variant, so I don't know, but that was one of the big things coming out of it that I know a lot of people were talking about, and I was even like, I don't think it's her, but it's interesting that it is a pretty good resemblance to her.
I mean, I guess it depends on what timeline they're pulling her from. Now, if she had, did she have a uniform on? I mean,
it looks like she was. Well, it looks
uniform?
like she was wearing a blue dress from the Agent Carter TV show. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
I mean, I don't know. It'd be funny if she was just like, "Stay with me, Steve, because the whole world's gonna blow up if you don't."
Jesus.
You know, like
Jesus.
She's just like just does it. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it could be her. The hair is very similar. Oh, here's a.
Yeah, we're looking at.
Here's a good picture. I mean, it could be. It could be.
We're looking and seeing. I love it. Do the mutants need an introduction? I thought Age of Ultron already hinted at that. I mean, like Frank was saying before, they kind of did hint at that, and they also hinted at it with just Wanda and Quicksilver, Pietro. It's just still weird for me. Like, I just can't wrap my head around it. I'm sure Kevin and the team over there are going to do an amazing job. You know, introducing them, it's kind of just still hard for me to wrap my mind around it. Like someone like Professor X or someone who's been there that long, like Wolverine is supposed to be, for that, you know, big of a time frame, to not be seen or heard of or brought up. Kind of like how the Eternals said, you know, we've been here throughout, but we never interjected. It's like, why the hell didn't you interject when Thanos is snapping? Come on, man.
Because the time variant said if you did that, we'd break your necks.
Which they do know of. Like that's crazy. And same thing with Celestials. It's they've opened up holes that I'm sure they're going to fill.
Oh, they're definitely gonna fill them.
But
I mean, they have to.
How and when they get there is going to be still very interesting to me.
Yeah, exactly, Chain Wolf. Like Disney Marvel has to redeem the mantle that is X-Men and mutants in general, because it has been absolutely slaughtered over the years. And we all know that when Fox puts their hands on something, they want to rush it, and they're doing it for money, not because of the love of us or any other fan. And yeah, they really need to introduce the mutants in some way. Even if they introduce just the major player mutants to say, hey, mutants do exist in this world. You know, sucks that Ralph was the first one.
Who do you think would be a good introduction from like X-Men? If you think of the core X-Men, you think
Storm is the perfect one, because here's the reason. Storm had a relationship. I mean, Storm and T'Challa were a thing. They were lovers at one point. They had a falling out. She left Africa, you know, she joined the X-Men, this, that, and the other. But the thing is like, that's a very easy way to introduce someone. I mean, Wolverine could be put in any scene, honestly, and he's old as dirt, so he can like go. He could be a part of any. He could be a part of the Loki verse right now, if you want to so say, and then just show an Easter egg of Logan. Phoenix, you can introduce her because we're doing a lot of space travel and stuff, and the Dark Phoenix could be introduced. Xavier could be essentially introduced as.
That's the one person I hope it's not. I hope it's not
Yeah,
Xavier again because we've
I'm so
gotten
sick of
so
Xavier.
much.
I'm sick of him. I think Magneto will be a great one.
Go the evil route, go the bad route. I like that. If you go the bad route with the X-Men,
you know what? I really hope they introduce mutants through Sentinels. I really would like to have Sentinels be, you know how because Kang and those peeps have their own Sentinel looking machines as well. So
we haven't even talked about Kang yet.
Yeah, I wonder if that's how we're gonna get them, because I mean, that's a possibility. Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, I mean, and we know Kang the Conqueror is coming in Quantumania. They already have the actor.
Coming.
They already have the actor. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's been fantastic through many films. He actually looks like Kang too, funny enough. And we're getting a tidbit. So for those of you who don't know, the female judge that Loki talks to when she's saying, "How do you plead? Gods do not plead," he says. You know, that's Judge Renslayer. It's based off the character from the comic books, Ravonna Renslayer. And the big thing with Ravonna Renslayer, she is a long time love interest to Kang the Conqueror. Kang the Conqueror, the TVA, and Ravonna Renslayer have huge arcs throughout comics, throughout everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit more of a tidbit into Kang here, because it has to do with the TVA, because he has a whole big going with the TVA. But I mean, that's another person that deals with time manipulation to his I'm gonna say benefit, but to his wanting, we'll call it, because he's not a fan of the Timekeepers. He's not a fan of the TVA, but he loves Ravonna, and we are just now getting that beginning story arc, essentially, of this one character that's going to lead into something just even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry if I keep on moving around. I'm very, very uncomfortable.
No. I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking about how important this show is for Marvel right now. Like, there's so many lies being uncovered from the movies. You know, the funny thing is, some of the stuff that happened in the movies may get reset. Like, it's just so much stuff. Black Widow could come back 100%.
Well, I mean, that's what I liked about the multiverse. I mean, you can literally do everything, and I think we're at a position right now with the MCU where we haven't even got into the multiverses yet, based on what they're talking about, the multi-universal war and everything. That we haven't hit any of that stuff yet in the current MCU timeline, the overarching timeline. So you're gonna see these characters, I think, come back. That's why, like you were saying, Tony Stark's going to come back at some point. Not Tony Stark, excuse me. Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, I feel like is going to come back. You're going to see Cap come back. Like all these other characters, you're going to see come back, probably for a Secret War or something of that nature. 10 years from now, they're going to pull that out of the hat, and you're going to see Old Man Stark. Something that me as a DC fan has wanted forever, from a Michael Keaton to do like a Batman Beyond type of thing. I really do feel like you're going to see that. And if they do that, that's, man, kudos to Marvel, because that's massive forward thinking with characters and time and how old they are. And just, that's insane if they do it that route.
Yep. So,
excuse me.
Like I said, we just don't know. I don't like Endgame and time travel was one way, and we don't even know if they actually did time travel right. Why did Steve Rogers get to rewrite his time when he was? See, this is the biggest lie. They said that the Avengers did it right, and they said that Loki, when you looked at the timeline, Loki's branch was the only one that was off course in the beginning of the show. That happened in 2012, essentially. But they immediately found him and quote unquote tried to correct it, because they were dealing with Loki screwing up the timeline in the future. So Steve Rogers got to I wonder if the Lizardmen gave Steve Rogers the blessing to do what he wanted to do
Kind of
because
like a hall pass.
he saved the timeline essentially or something. But it's just weird that he gets to go back in time and do it. And does that essentially mean that Infinity War Endgame didn't happen during his timeline?
Well, I think what's happening is you have Steve Rogers once he goes back in time, he already knows what's going to happen, and if he interjects, something could be turned off course. So by him going back in time,
I know what it was.
And staying
they killed Thanos
yeah,
of old.
They killed Thanos
of the past.
Yeah, they killed Thanos
of the future. So essentially, he doesn't exist. I don't know. It's really weird.
No, yeah, there's a lot of time loopholes there that that kind of are weird with interbranching and intercrossings and how you're bringing people back. Because if you killed somebody, what was it, 4 years prior to what you're supposed to be doing, right? Because I think it was the 4 years earlier. He goes like when he says, "Wanda, I don't even know who you are." "You will," she says. Like, if you kill him, technically doesn't the future one never exist, and then the blip doesn't happen, and you don't need to do the soul stone? Like, isn't it rewriting history in that sense? That's why time travel is always weird when you deal with things.
Then we have to think about, oh my god, there's just so many questions. So there was a real big reason why they showed Infinity Stones in that drawer that he was trying to get the Tesseract back for, because to Loki the Tesseract is super important. But then Loki realizes that in the TVA, they're the ultimate power. None of these things that were powerful to them mean anything.
Yeah.
But during Endgame, what is it? The Ancient One from Doctor Strange was explaining to Bruce Banner that if an Infinity Stone is misplaced or not in the timeline, that it's going to create chaos.
That is also
and she's
true,
essentially a guardian of time as herself. So if they just got copies of Infinity Stones just hanging out in the TVA and they're throwing them around multiverses, what does that mean? You know, so
well, I guess I wonder if you take something out of the timeline, but then you use that bomb to reset it. Will it reset it with another Infinity Stone?
Well, the funny thing is if that's true, then the Tesseract was taken out of Loki's time, right?
Well, we know that the Infinity Stones have no power outside of the universe they're created in.
But the Tesseract is an Infinity Stone that was taken out of their universe. So is that a chaotic universe now?
Like, how did they reset that timeline if you're taking something out of it? Don't they have to put it back in?
Even further for the Tesseract, where Steve Rogers and then Tony Stark's father.
I'm talking about the TVA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So do they put it back? Like, because remember, it got taken by Loki and they were like, crap, we lost it. So, but they were like, we can go back to an earlier timeline, you know? Where they got a Tesseract from the case that was in the old Shield building. Yeah. So I'm very that's where they're gonna have to start cleaning this stuff up, because I'm very confused.
Well, Steve Rogers went back to Tony Stark's dad and gave that Tesseract back. So that timeline is settled.
But is that which Tesseract is that though?
That should be the Tesseract that at the beginning of the episode he took.
Right, but if that's the case, then that Tesseract shouldn't exist in his hands. Why? If that's the case, but that Tesseract is sitting in the TVA. So I'm very. I hope I'm pretty sure they're going to explain it, because Loki holds on to the Tesseract, right? Like, he didn't just drop it with the Infinity Stones. He took that Tesseract back to the office where Owen Wilson was and put it down beside him, and he was getting sad about his mom and just all this stuff, and he's just like, my life is crazy, whatever.
Yeah, because Morbius goes, you tried to use it, and he said yes, plenty of times, and it's not working here.
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions that and these are questions that I'm happy to see get answered. Yeah, so that means a timeline. There is a timeline that exists that does not have one of the Infinity Stones.
Unless when they reset timelines, it resets everything that they've taken out of it. So if
But
they,
wouldn't that
but
make
so if
it
they
disappear?
well, yeah, but if you live outside of a pocket dimension where where time is different and reality is essentially different, it goes with you because it's worthless at that point. Because once again, it's not created in that universe. So having it there, it's like a big paperweight.
So, but or what if TVA just has these extra Infinity Stones hanging around and they just drop them in the timelines that they reset? I, I don't know. It's very interesting.
That is pretty.
Um, she explains it. She says that removing the Infinity Stone from his timeline can lead to chaos. That's what
Yeah.
she says. Essentially, um, and she tells that to Bruce Banner, and that why it was really important for them. I mean, that was the whole plot to lead back. Oh, we have to collect the Infinity Stones, from the past to make up for the future, and so on and so forth. So, or make up for the present. So, I don't know. It's Infinity Stones just don't matter anymore.
Well,
To
yeah,
our timeline.
which is actually kind of nice because now you know they're not going to have any impact into the next version, the next chapter. We
And I
already
think
went through that story
yeah.
arc, and now this is this is them showing us, hey, it's done. We're going bigger now, in an instance, or at least we're moving on from the past 10 years, 12 years, whatever it was.
And I think that was Marvel's way of saying that we're done with the Infinity Stones. They're useless now. We had that time arc. We're good, and it's just really nice how they put those little accents in there. And when he picks up the Infinity Stone, he's just like, "These, you have so many of these."
Yeah.
And dude's like, "Yeah, we pass them around as paperweights."
Yeah, it's like, yeah, well, it's just paperweight. It's fine. It's nothing good.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can't wait. Wednesday, the new episode. I gotta get going, real soon.
Yep, it's 2:15.
But yeah, sorry that we were late. We went over like 15 minutes to give you guys that little bit extra time. But essentially our show's an hour and a half anyway. Or hour and 45 minutes essentially.
Yeah,
if you
normally.
got any questions or anything, please feel free to ask.
Yeah. We'll go through a couple of things right now, and if you got any questions, please feel free. We just talked about episode 1. We apologize we were a little late today. Had a couple of things happen prior to go live. We normally stream every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we have one caveat for that. So I'm going to switch screens here really quick and show you this. For those of you who don't know, starting on, what is it, Monday, I believe? The official GCX charity drive with St. Jude begins, going all the way to Sunday. So it's starting off with Big Cheese KIT starting it off, and then obviously ending it will be Dr. Lupo as GCX and the Rare Drop family go off and help raise money for the kids and families over at St. Jude. I think in total with St. Jude Play Live that happened last month, we're all looking to raise about $7 million, and we're already almost at $3 million. And with GCX officially starting on the 17th, which you could see kind of right over.
We're almost at 4 million. You talking about like St. Jude in general?
For this year, I think.
Yeah,
right?
we already at 4 million.
Jude,
we over 4 million.
GCX.
We bust that.
2 to 5.
We're like, we're over 4 million now. 4 million something. Yeah, it was like 4 million at the end of Play Live.
Yeah, so the charity fundraising begins tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There you go. It starts Sunday at 12 p.m. with Big Cheese KIT, and then it's going to end following Sunday, the 20th, at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when Dr. Lupo anchors it for the community. And during it, actually starting on the 17th, as you see here on this beautiful, wonderful image that was released yesterday, you got the programming schedule going live for GCX. Obviously, you got the keynote, and right after the keynote, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you have us. You have Frank and I going on live, main stage, right off the gate. You're going to have Frank and I talking to you about many things, but it's not just Frank and I. So do you want to say it, or?
No, I think you guys should find out. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to have... We're gonna have some guests.
They tweeted, so we're good.
We already tweeted it.
They did. Both of them. S and D.
Oh, so we have Mr. Mooney himself and Declan, and they're both are responsible for some Mooney did Grayson. He did a ton of comics, but Grayson I think is his biggest, most interesting one. And Declan works with Marvel as well, and he's doing. I believe they're working on. I don't know if we can say what they're working on now. Did we get clearance?
I don't think we got clearance yet. We're still waiting to get clearance per their email. So as Frank is saying, it's not just going to be Frank and I on Thursday. We have Declan. I don't know how to pronounce his last name appropriately. I apologize.
Yeah, that's why I don't say it.
Shalvey, I believe it is. As well as Stephen Mooney. They are massive in the Marvel universe, which they're currently in right now as far as comic books go. In addition, they've worked on both realms with DC. They got some stuff actually out right now for IDW as well. Specifically Stephen Mooney recently worked on Black Widow and Grayson for respectively Marvel and DC. And then Declan has a brand new series outside of Marvel and DC called Time Before Time. That's out now. And we're going to be talking to them about some cool things that they're working on that I think we can't say quite yet. So whether you're on the space station or if you go live with us at 1 p.m. on Thursday over at twitch.tv/GCX, we'll be raising money for St. Jude, and we're going to be talking to some amazing creators in this realm, which is really going to lead us into, this was kind of like our, what do they call it at the beginning of books? An epilogue? Is that what it is? Or a prologue? Is it an epilogue or a prologue at the beginning of a book?
I think it's wait a minute. No, it's prologue, because epilogue is at the end, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is, leading up to Thursday, it's kind of like all of our episodes have been kind of like the prologue, and now we're going to have
this, like I was explaining it to everybody, even explaining it to the boys, is that this show that we're doing for GCX is the runner. That's the showrunner. It's the main show. When we've introduced, these are introductory shows. At the end of the day, we're introducing ourselves. We're showing you like our love for the comic books and bringing you in. But the real show is Thursday. Show 1.
Yeah.
And yeah, you should be there because it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna have a lot of fun. A lot of people will be there. And we have some very excited guests that were more than happy to do it. And these are some big players, man. These are people that you've probably been digging in their books for a while and just didn't realize it. So it's going to be awesome. And, we wanted to give them some kind of airtime because they don't really people read the comics and they know the names, but they don't really, people don't really pay attention to the credits given in comics. They just read the comic and put it down. So it's a good way to get them out there, and it's a good way for us to put a statement of, hey, this is how Rare Drop in Comics handles things, and that's what we're doing. So it's gonna be a busy week, and I think I'm also doing the role play thing all 3 days. So I'm gonna be pretty much dead.
Yeah, I mean, but GCX this year, though it's not in person, they got some amazing things planned. Obviously, from the people that are on there.
I'm happy it's not. I'm telling you.
Whether it be the panels that they have going on. I mean, obviously, right after us, you got Kevin and Timmy doing their Star Wars panel. They got 2 great guests as well that they're going to be talking to. I believe I heard properly. It's Tim's birthday that Thursday, so you could say happy birthday to him. Please make sure to let him know that Nighthawk said happy birthday to him. But yeah, I mean, this is
Timmy's birthday. Timmy.
But yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a lot of fun. You got amazing things with role plays. You got G4 being a guest. You got Good Game Bro over on Overplayed. You got some D&D stuff. You got the Border Cast as well, and then obviously you got them raising money through their charity drive, starting with Big Cheese as well, and then obviously us. So as you know, we'll be on live Thursday over on GCX. We won't be back live on here until not the 19th, but the 26th. So when we come back on the 26th, we're really going to have 2 episodes to come back on. We'll probably briefly maybe go into it a little bit. We're still going to work it out because we only have 45 minutes compared to an hour 45 minutes. So
I don't think we're gonna go into I don't think we're gonna do a major.
We're just gonna say, did you watch episode 2? Yeah, it was awesome. Okay, next.
Because we're gonna get their thoughts on how they feel that it's mostly gonna be like, what are their thoughts that how they feel about the MCU and how that's being portrayed.
Yeah, Captain, indeed, it's gonna be a crazy week, brother.
Being portrayed, and what would they like to see? Stuff like that. It's just gonna be a casual conversation, and we're gonna get into what they're working on. honestly, because I mean, you don't really bring guests on to not
and bring
them,
your questions too. Bring your questions too. We got a lot of things we can talk about on there. And I see Captain in chat. How you doing, Captain?
Yo, Robert, I don't know what is happening, bro. I just know I'm supposed to be doing stuff with you, so I hope they let me know. Is it D&D related? I figure no. But anyway, if whatever it is, I'll have a character ready. I pre-make characters. So.
Yeah, Captain does some amazing things here on the channel, which seems like nightly at this point, amongst other things. So we are going to get out of here, chat.
Yep.
You know, the E3 essentially starts today with Ubisoft, and we've obviously had some cool things.
I'll be
with
covering
Summerfest.
I think you're covering it. So
yeah, check us out. Yeah, I'm going to be covering it here. I just need to walk. I'm so uncomfortable. I got to walk around for a little bit. But yeah, we'll be live obviously throughout the week, chat. If you want to come out and talk to us about Loki on our own channels, you can find us on Twitter. I'm at Nighthawk Plays. He's over at Technique. That's what the beautiful, lovely name tags are underneath us. We're very active.
This is Twitter now, so
Twitter,
if you guys want to see our channels, his is the same. Mine is take off the TV.
There you go. His was out the TV over here. We're both here on Twitch daily. He's got a fun schedule because now he's full-time once again. Claps for you going full-time. But we'll be back on Thursday over at the GCX event, chat. So whatever you're doing for the rest of the week, please enjoy it. Have some fun. My name is Nighthawk. That handsome gentleman over there is Frank Technique, and we'll see you in the mix. The comics.
Peace. See you in the mix, guys.
All pun intended.
Yeah. Peace. Have a good day.